long time I last saw you. How have you been doing?
No, we are trying, my brother. With the grace of God, we are trying everything. It's superb. We can't complain. We are just crying with everybody that is in the pandemic. Then we are saying, no, let God put their mighty hands so that everybody can be saved from this thing that is bothering us. Everybody is one.
I'm sure for now you miss doing about lesson plan and POAs.
No, it's yes, we are missing it, but we are going back, which is part of my everyday life. I'm missing them. I'll see them soon. They will be irritating me, but it's part of the
package. During the day we were having a discussion on Twitter, and people were actually telling me how much they missed you. And one of the guys said you used to beat him very hard at school. Are you still using corporal punishment?
No, that was abolished a long time ago. We are now talking now. We are making sense verbally with them. We don't do that. Otherwise, you will be out in the street once you do
that. What are you specializing on? Mathematics or what?
No, it's accounting. I'm a man of figures. If you can tell me about the millions, then that's my language.
Now, we'll come back to that one. First and foremost, you are here because football fans wanted to appreciate you while you are still alive. They wanted me to tell you how much they miss you and how much they loved you and how much you made them proud when you played Ebola during your playing days. This is their platform. They wanted me to relay the message to you that they miss you and they love you very much.
No, I appreciate that a lot. It's since long not been back to social media where you talk football all the way, but I think now it's starting slowly, but I'll be there soon, full time. Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did it start for you, football-wise? Where did it start for you, for Page Mahlangu?
Hey, it started a long time ago as a young boy with my dad taking me to stadium. Young as I was, watching those Orlando Pirates and Victoria Cabbies. I think the Kaizer Chiefs there. That's where it started. Then I started to love game at a very early age, whereby I was supported by my father when they supported, they would buy you football every now and then. And when you still wanted to go and buy that plastic, there was no problem, unlike you stealing the money by streets. That's where it started. It was very interesting because of I grew in the township whereby football was the main thing, nothing else. And then we were not forced, but we were taken by the elders and said, no, go and play football. Then that's how the path started to came into me, for me to follow football. Then I used to have friends who were not good at football, but they were good administrators at a young age. They will come and push you to go and play those challenges, whereby it can be 2 versus 2, or 5 versus 5, or 10 versus 10. When you win, you come back. Yeah, when you win and come back, you'll buy those half a loaf and cut it into 4. Then you buy an Eric. There was a butter called Eric. Then you eat it with bread. It was very nice. Some of others, we couldn't afford a butter at home, but you know that once you go and play football with me, then you will afford to eat butter. Then that's how it started to hit me at a very early age. Then the teams that I played for, I played for one team in amateur until I went to professional, which it was Amateur FC. That's where I I played there from under 14 up until I graduated and went to the senior team. There we had no formal training. It was 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 at an early age. I remember opposite at home, in those forum houses. At home, they were planting maize behind the house. At opposite, they had nothing. Then they had a nice fence whereby we could play 2 versus 2 with a plastic ball most of the time. Those are the drills that they develop us in order to be very good footballers at that small age. Then that's where those elder guys, they saw us. We were making a group of about maybe 20 to 30 boys. Then it's 2 versus 2. If you are beaten, you are out. Then they started collecting us. Then we started to have an under 14 team. Then that's where it started. Then also when you go to primary, it was exactly the same thing. You play for this team in this township, you go to this school. When you graduate and go to the secondary, you move as a group. It was very interesting how we developed, and we never saw that as a development, but it was a very good development. Then I remember I was maybe the only one who sustained and played in my township up until I went to secondary. The other guys, they decided not to follow football, but I stayed in football because of I had a very good support from my parents. They were happy when
let me distract you. Let me distract you a little bit. Let me distract you. Because last year we had a chat with Upra Jerry Skosan.
Yes.
And Upra Jerry was telling us about his days, go aces 9-9, and he mentions you as one of the best players he played with. And when we listen to some Sundowns legends, they also mention you as one of the best players they've played with. And when they count the best Sundowns 11 in the 90s, your name is always there. Do you ever look at yourself and say, yeah, Paige Mahlangu was a great footballer?
I've started to after I hear people commenting. But before I used not to do that. But when you hear people talking, that is when you take your memory back and ask yourself, what is it that you've done? The people appreciate it. Yes, I did play with them. Then they were very good. I think Jerry, I took him to Aces. Remember, he was playing at Blackpool. Then there was a guy who bought a team somewhere in Felcom, where he was transferred. Then I said, no, you cannot stay here without training. Let's go to Aces. Then that's how he played there for about 6 months. Then he was off to Orlando Pirates. Then the others, then shortly, I did play with them. I was playing with them. Then it was good when people appreciate what you are doing. Then you started to say, oh, just take us off a legend. Then surely when people start to talk about you, then you can say, no, I am proud to hear people saying I am a legend. Then that makes me also proud.
Do your kids believe Uguti Ngempela you were great?
Hey, people are talking a lot. Then he started to say, of course, I was great. When you hear people talking about you, surely they will never say things which yes, if you're a bad person, surely they'll tell you that you're a bad person. If you're good, they will say that you are good. After some time.
So ekubantwana bakukhona okulandelayo ngebhola, or they're not interested in football, they just want to be accountants?
No, I had my young boy Carrero there. He used to play. He was very, very good, but I don't know what happened. He just was interest somewhere. I don't know what caused that. It's because of he did not want to follow in my footsteps or what, I don't know. But he came across maybe incident that were challenging me, and we were together. And maybe I think those are that demotivated him to focus in football. To me, as my boy, if he had a very big heart, he could have made it. Because he was left-footed and very good at going forward. Somehow they got away. Then, unfortunately, he's my only boy. The rest I've got girls. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Let me give you one name, and you are going to tell me what to remember about this gentleman. Let me give you Johnny Ferrer. What do you remember about him?
A very friend of mine, a father figure, a coach who really nurtured me one way or the other, a coach that spoiled me, a coach that made me to be arrogant. It's a coach that gave me, that opened my football brains. He gave me an opportunity. Then that's what I can say about John. He was a very good coach, make no mistake. We won the World Safe with him at Aces. We also lost to Pirates 1993. BP top 8. Then he was a very good coach. I don't know what made Aces to get rid of him. We could have went better with Aces. Aces, I'm telling you, if they didn't sack the coach, Aces was going to be exactly what the Chiefs it is today. Because we had a very good business plan with him and the way forward of taking Aces to the next level. He was a very good and still a very good coach even now.
I remember that Aces team that had about Johannes Trili, and about Richard Pierre. Yeah, I think that Aces team was the one that you are talking about, air winner a trophy. And I remember in those days it was not an easy match to go to Witbank and play Aces because you guys were very strong.
It was not easy to beat us there at Skokuta, also at Witbank. It was not easy because we were a good team that was there for almost 4 years, 5 years together. Then hence you couldn't break into that level. And even those new players that were coming in, it was not easy for you to break into that team because we were very good. Not we were jealous to anyone, but we were just pushing ourselves to the limit.
I'm told that you started as a striker, but because you were missing a lot of goals, they converted you to a defender.
It's very funny how I was converted to other positions. You couldn't believe that I played all the positions: goalkeeper to a defender to a striker to a midfielder. And at Aces, we had this philosophy of saying, because of remember first we were coached by Wanda Moreira, who was a Brazilian. When he first came in, he came when we were watching World Cup for the first time in South Africa. I think it was when it was Italy. Then he was training us the way the Brazil was playing and the way it was approaching the game. He started saying, nobody is going to be telling me that he's going to play as a striker. To play the middle and play at the back. We should sort of camouflage the opponents. Then another thing developed into us and say, no, we have to rotate all the positions. Then when a new player come in at Aces, we could give him an opportunity. Then the problem was at the back. If we can say that number 2, number 3, we are better. So replace immediately. We as players we go to the coach and say, no, can replace this guy? Otherwise, we're going to lose. That's how I was rotating to play as a left back, as a right back, and as a central defense. Then that's how I realized that no, it's not easy to score when you're there. It's easy to score when you're coming from the middle, or when you're coming from the defense. And I also like to say that thing made other coaches to realize my potential. because of Sheikh Mashaba wanted me desperately when I was playing as a left back because of I was going forward most of the time. Also, Mr. Chabalala saw me playing as a right back. In the other game, I was playing as a left back. They wanted me to come and join. I said, no, I was still young, I cannot join. And by that time, Sundowns was having the best players by that time. I said, no, I'm not going to make it in this team. Let me stay. Yes, it was not easy to play as a striker because of we had the most difficult opponent for me was a pairing of Matovi and Lucas. They were tall. I couldn't do nothing against them. Then I ended up saying, no, it's not going to be good for me. Let me go back and play in the middle. That's how I was converted to a defender. Later, I went to the middle. But it was so interesting that I was enjoying myself during those days.
And then people like me started idolizing you when you joined Sundowns. How did you join Sundowns?
When I joined Sundowns, it was, I remember I said, Screamer came to me when they were, I think it was the second year when he was at Sundowns, when they were still playing piano and shusha. At that time, they had Dombela for bands. They wanted me to come and train them as a back. Then I saw them not going to be able to. Then I played at ACES up until 96, whereby there was a player strike. Then the players refused to play against Kaiser Chiefs because of some financial problems. I was regarded as a ring leader, you see, because of, I remember the club was owned by the chief Mahlangu, and I was also a Mahlangu. It was a fun for me. Then I was a well-paid player because of my surname, because of also playing. Then they phoned me a night before, and I did not pick up the phone at home. We were using the landline. I told my father what was happening. I said, I'm not going to pick up the phone. If I pick up the phone, it means I'll decide those players. I know what is happening. Then the following day, they did not go. We did not go and play against Chiefs. Then I regarded as a when they came back, when they were interrogated their players, those small boys, they shivered. They picked my name and said, no. The person was not just they were saying me. Then I was regarded as a bad player. They said I committed a high treason. Remember the headlines were saying, the Sowetan highlight saying a high treason by a ringleader, but never specified. Then on a Monday, I was called to the office just before training because of the training at 5 o'clock. Then I was given a free clearance for my. I cried, said, no, you can't be taken. You can't be. Then we were given, 6 of us were given clearances. Well-experienced players. And even John's chief was amongst them. Then I went home. And then I was so frustrated for about a month or two. The third month, they said somebody's looking. Then when I go outside, somebody took me to another township there. I met Scream. They said, what happened to you? I said, no, they gave me a free clearance. Said, no, you are a politician. Leave those things, come, let's go and play football. He took me straight to Natasha. I was signed on the spot. That's how I joined.
Let me give you another name. You are going to tell me about your time with this gentleman, the late Ted Dumitru.
Yes, another figure that was a tactician, very intelligent coach. he saved me again when I was already trying to retire from football. Then he called me and said to me, you know what, you've got another potential that you've never seen. He explained to me how I need to approach the game because I was 28, 29 by that time. He gave me another mind of football food of saying a player at 28, 29, you're already at your peak. When they signed with this team, they were looking at your maturity. Can apply it and don't have a small heart. Apply your mind. These are youngsters. You can also lead them by example. He was a person that was planning. When he was planning, he was calling all those experienced players and sit down with you and discuss. It could happen exactly what he had said. He was a very fair coach. He was understanding the mentality of South African players. He was behaving as if he was born here, as if he grew with us here, but don't find that he did not even maybe stay for quite a long time in this country, but he understands our culture because of the background where he was coming. Then that's where I started to enjoy my game as Sundowns. I was making things easy because of he made me to open up. So when you sit down with the Bizo and the Roja and the Pumba and Makalakala, late Mahula, Mambush, Eric Lamasik, Lavas, Pans, Bapela, when you talk football with them, it was becoming easy and say, no, we can't, that's not like this. There were times whereby we were giving him our own lineup. And it was so incredible that you couldn't believe that we were making the lineup as players. At a training session, we made your own lineup and say, this is our lineup. We play against this team. Whether it's a friend or what, we give you 5 percent. No, he was a very good coach. Did help us a lot. Not only me, he helped a lot of players in terms of
now that Sundowns team. If you were to be unfair today and compare it to today's team, how would you rate today's team to your team, guys?
The generation, they differ. We are also our own generation that was better than our own generation. This generation of now, when you compare to us, we can say things are the same. The difference are the time. So difference are the time. We also won 3 league titles. They also won 3 plus. But look at the talent of the players of that time. Talent of now. It's only a small margin of the difference. But we also regard ourselves as the best one to now. Those that are here now, they say they're better than us. But we are not thinking about that. But we were the best team by that time for that year, which have satisfied us. Also, they continue to proceed with that legacy. We left our own legacy, they continue with their own legacy. But it's one legacy in the same team.
So when you watch them play on TV, do you feel proud about them? Do you feel that this is the Sundowns team that I'm proud of as a Sundowns legend?
Surely I am proud of what they are. Because of if you can go to the one of piano and bring this one of Ted and continue with this one of piano of pizza, you see the same team in terms of positional football. You see there is no missing link there. It tells you that there is a certain culture which is there in terms of positional football, which is made up very, very, very proud. Yes, we are very proud to say that. Having that continuity happening in football in the same team, which is great for us as a legend.
Mm. I'm told that when Philip Trozier announced the 1998 squad, you cried.
Meaning when he was announcing it there
The
or here?
1998 World Cup squad, and your name was not there, and you just couldn't hold it.
Yes, it was a time where you were at your peak playing your best game and you said, what is happening? And people cannot notice what we are saying. That prediction was made by Ted. That prediction that we're going to be in a World Cup. He made it a year before 1998. He made that in 1997 when he was talking to resign. He made that prediction. And I'm telling you, it was very painful when you are ignored just like that, and when you are at your best, and everybody could see that even the opposition team was saying exactly the same thing. When we are running on top of Kaizer Chiefs and the Swallows and the Pirates, and it was quite clear. But what can I say? Maybe I was having too much hopes, but it's done. I was recalled again. Remember, I was recalled again when we did not make it. When we were going to France, I was also called to camp in Argentina. Then we were taken back home from Argentina. It was very sad. It was very sad. The politics was where I started to understand the football politics, which sometimes when you watch this thing happening in front of you, don't believe it when they happen. What was bad is I will not mention the names of people, but I will just talk about some other things that happened. There were players that were injured, were on crashes. Then if you look that you are being taken home, then in the 23-man squad that is there, you've got 3 players that were on crashes. You go home being 2. Then it tells you something that something is not right here. Something is not right. But I said, no. They said remain. I said, no, I can't remain to see this thing that is happening. You see players are on the squad, but they are on crashes. But you said I must remain once and watch this. I said, no. This thing is I cannot take it. It's better if I go home. Let me go and be with my family. This politics, I don't want to be involved. Then I asked to be given a ticket of coming home. They insisted, then I forced them, give me the ticket, let me go home. Then I came back. That's it.
So basically, they wanted to give you a holiday in France.
Yes, they wanted to give me a holiday in France, but to me, it was not making sense. Remember, I was working with money. I'm still an accountant in Cape. They wanted me to stay in France, and I was not going to be given an allowance of food, money for food. It means I was going to use the money that they gave me then, which it was a lot of money. It was something like 5,000 or 6,000 US dollars, which they were giving for us on a daily basis, almost every day. I was not using that money because of get food and what can you buy. Then when I look at the money and said, if I stay here, I'm going to be spending something like, by that time it was 15 US dollars per day. I'm going to deplete this money. When I will be coming back home, this was going to be a lot of money. By that time, I couldn't believe it when I make an exchange there at the airport. I came back with approximately 60 grand or 70 grand when I changed that money. But I calculated it before and said, no, I can't stay. There's a man that I can do something with this money when I go. And I said, it's fun. Yeah.
It's the first time I'm hearing that story, and I'm glad that you are alive today to tell it yourself, because I wasn't gonna believe it if somebody else were to tell me the story, because Couple of weeks back, we had Unote Mukwena, and now he had to share his own story, and he had to tell his own version. And when you hear Noti's version, and you look at the papers, it's totally different. And what we were fed as the public was to tarnish his name. And when he tells his story, and you realize, which no man, there are a lot of politics in football, and these things they damage the reputation of other players. I'm so sorry that you, as a person, you had to go through all those frustrating moments in your career. I'm sure it was your lowest moment in football.
That was the lowest moment. That was, make no mistake, it was the lowest moment. If I could recall them, it was not good for me because I discussed that with my late father before we go back to go to Argentina. I had a premonition, and I said to him, I'm not going to go and join that squad because of they had already 23-man squad that they already picked. Then he said, it's not going to be fair for a country for you being called and you don't go there. Just go there. If anything happened, then you have gave your best. Then if you come back, you come back, and it's fine. That was the lowest moment for me.
And then in the same year, 1998, you won Bob save with the Sundowns, and you scored the winning penalty. You remember that final?
Yes, I remember that one vividly. It's still in my head, still dancing in my head.
But I'm not sure if this moment is still in your head. Do you remember Lentuana Steve coming at you on the left-hand side, and you were shy, let's step over this, and you went to buy bread and you didn't come back?
I knew that you mentioned that one. You'll never go without mentioning that one. Yes, that one I also remember. I remember that one. I remember that one. It was very tricky, and I couldn't take that for quite a long time. I think for a month or two. People were saying, you want the boxing parts to take you to the cleaners. I said, no, he was moving, make note. He was. I've never seen a wave like that in my entire career. So when you thought somebody was this way, then he went this way. But it happened. It happened.
And I'm happy that he went on to miss the penalty with penalty shootout, because had he scored that penalty, Pirates would have won the cup. But he missed. We went to sudden death, and then came Gavin Lane, missed his penalty as well, and then came your opportunity. When you scored that winning penalty, how was it like for you from FNB Stadium to your own home? How was it like for you?
Hey, it was so wonderful. So, coming home, winning the cup while you were training in the penalty shootout, it was a very big moment for me. It was very good. And when I went to take that penalty, I was only thinking about my dad, only my late dad. This man is going to be happy because he was a Orlando Pirate follower. I was playing against his team. Then I said, no, this one I have to put it in. I don't care about this old man. I'm everywhere here. I had to put it in. Yeah, when I arrived home, no, he was always saying, no, thank you, you won. I'm proud of you. But I said, no, but don't do that. Next time, don't do that.
It seems like you had issues with the Pirates, because I want to remind you of another game as well. Rodman's Cup semi-final.
Yes.
Other fixture, Chatsworth against the Manning Rangers. Remember the semi-final where Umusi Ajao scored from the halfway line? Tina, we were playing the Pirates. The Pirates were leading 2-1, and the match was towards the end. Do you remember who scored the equalizer?
I scored the equalizer.
You scored that equalizer, and I still remember how that goal made me feel. But how did it make you feel?
You know what, I was not myself on the day because of, you know, there's this thing of saying we are a favor and you play against. I didn't even celebrate because of, I just thought the ball was here in front of me. I said, no, there was no way that I could miss this. Otherwise, my teammates are going to kill me. Otherwise, I to put it in.
But then, after achieving everything with Sundowns, and then you went to Classic,
Yes.
Tembisa Classic. Tembisa Classic, ikwavuka the things that were said about you at Aces, Uguti, you are a problem child, you are a troublesome player.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Classic story.
Yes, at Classic, they asked me to come and join. Because of I was supposed to have went to Hellenic. Then I refused and said, no, I can't leave working and go to Hellenic. It was still Gavin Hunt as a coach then. Then I decided to join. I trained with them. Also, I was recruited by Cowboys as a coach. Then I found them having a problem whereby they wanted the playoffs and they did not maybe pay the players what they promised. Then I refused to discuss to join the committee that they formed to talk about the problem. No, I'm not here for politics. I need to play football. You need to do that on your own. I'm here only to play. Unfortunately, one way or the other, the problem they want to follow you if you are not interested in those things. After training, then because of I was driving, they were using a team bus. I just drive and went home. They decided to stay behind and have their own meeting, whereby they were discussing issues that we were discussing. The following day, I was called to the office. Then they said, you were part of the meeting of players. So it means they had the meeting with the players in the morning, whereby they discussed what they discussed in the afternoon. When I was about to get into the training, they called because the office was not far away from the training ground. Then they started accusing me of talking for players that they need the money, what. Then I listened to them, I looked, then I asked them again, can you repeat those stories? I highlighted that they were talking about 1, 2, 3, the money and what. I said, no, you are incorrect. You are incorrect. I said, no, I was here to play football, not to talk to a shop student. They said, no, it's not. I said, no. If you're going to start to accuse me, that keep your team, let me go home. I walked straight home. I left it. I said, no. That's how I resigned because of I was fed up and said, I was hardly 2 months there. I did not even get their pay. You can't believe that. In 2 months that I was never paid. I said, no, let me go. Let me resign. If you start by accusing me by this allegation. Because of if I stay, I'm not going to enjoy myself here. I said, no, I'm not going to enjoy it. It's better if I leave this team. I resigned football on the same day. Then I stayed. Then later, about a year or two, they called me. They wanted me to be a coach, become a coach. I went there. They still talk again. I resigned. I left. Then another guy came and got that team. Then he invited me. Then I joined them as a coach. We won the playoffs. The team was in the PS.
I'm sorry to ask you this unfair question, but in your opinion, why some of the black-owned clubs always struggle to pay players?
You know, once you started to run football with lights, it will catch with you. That's what they are. They will promise you all of this money that they have. They are not honest in saying we're going to pay you so much or we can afford so much. You come as a player and say, I want 20,000. they will say yes. Yet they know they cannot afford it.
Mm.
Month end, if they must pay, they don't. They like promising and saying, "Oh, you win this game, you keep this." At the end of the day, they don't do it. That's what made them to be bad administrators. So they are not honest. You can't promise somebody money that you don't have. You can't promise somebody money that is still coming. So you don't know whether will it reach your pocket or not. And when those things they are not there, they want you to come. Then how do you come? Yet you know that they are not honest. Then that's what they make this beautiful game to be bad. And I've said this to many of the owners of the team when I joined. I wanted honest. If you got money, say you got. You don't have it. We are not here to make money. We are here to develop players. I understand at the level that we are operating at. It's not all about making money. It's all about helping the player and the team. It's a partnership that is taking everyone forward. But once you make your own promises on the side, honor them, and then they can't do that. And it's giving them a bad reputation. Make no mistake. It's a very bad reputation.
My final question to you. Your best 11, the best 11 that you have ever played with. You are not part of this team. You are an angel of class here in this team. So you are sitting in the stands with us. Just give me the best 11 that Sello Mahlangu played with.
John Tlale, goalkeeper. Left back, Eric Ramasike. Number 4.
Ramasike,
yeah, Dan Malisel. Right back is Temba Mbuli. You got the Roger Kukumba in the middle. You got the Pans Lapela.
Okay. Just hold on for me 1 second. You said Emapalini uno John Tlale, what uno Temba Mnguni,
Yes.
what uno Dan Dance, what uno Ramasike. Who's the fourth one at the back? Or you are playing back 3?
No, we play 5. There could have the late Juas Makola.
Oh, Hlupi, yeah.
Yes, true. Then you can have Rocha in the middle. You can have Pans Lapela.
Okay.
You can have Charles Motloi.
Okay.
Then you can have on the right Juas Jewel Fire. Then you can have Rafael Chuku. Then you have Agustin Makalaka.
Wow, this is a very strong team.
Yeah.
Are you still in touch with the Sundowns?
Kancane. Not much. I follow them, but some few players I'm in touch with them. The Temba Ngwenya, which is a chief scout there. Temba Zwane, the Bush. Nalo baba lo faka maringa manene. I know you like this. Yeah. Then we are still in touch with them. Yes, that's a team that I am following. Yes, that's a team that I am following.
No, first, thank you very much for giving us your time and for sharing your life story with us. And like I said before, as football fans, we wanted to tell you how much we love you. We wanted to tell you how much we appreciate you. And in most years too, who followed the Sundowns since 1988, 1989, when we saw you in the late 90s playing for Sundowns, you made us very happy. You gave us a lot of great moments, and I just want to say thank you very much for your life and for dedicating your life in football. And we will never forget you for as long as we live. Thank you so much, Baba Mahlangu.
No, my brother, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I also appreciate for the opportunity. they still follow us on Instagram. Nami bengassi member Instagram, but abantwana instead how to go about yonke lento. I used to criticize them, but sengiyayibona lento is life. Yeah, you know, I showed it. We can't be left behind. Technology is a way to go.
Yes, and
Thanks a lot.
ngizotshela lo baba wamaringa amaningi ukuthi he must give you a call as well. We need you back.
Yeah, too much, my man. Thank you.
Have a good evening, Baba Siyabonga.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.